75 years ago, as I speak to you now, Winston Churchill took to the balcony of the Ministry of Health to speak to the multitudes that had crammed into Whitehall with full notice and forewarning to hear Sir Winston, as he became in short order, do his thing. That's word spread. Well, Churchill was a little bit concerned that there wouldn't be enough beer and food and the like, and there wasn't enough food, and the breweries apparently worked through the night to get everything ready for the day. And for a species of people who are to this day known, not exactly known for their outpouring of emotion, it was an incredible moment, I'm sure. I don't know where my grandparents would have been. I've only got my granddad left nowadays. I'd imagine my granddad, or my mum's dad, would have been either still in Kenya or maybe on his way to Germany. He was meant to be in Germany in 1945, but probably after the war ended. My mum's mum, might well have been at Loomberg Heath, or not far from it. If she was working with Field Marshal Montgomery's headquarters, she likely was close to where the surrender was and where Monty saw the end of the war. It's incredible to think, really, that she might well have been near Field Marshal Montgomery. So I've got a really useless laptop at the moment. Granddad, Dad's dad, would probably have still been in Sheffield working on Churchill tanks in a factory, I believe he did. And Nanny would have been Gosport way, hence Portsmouth shirts. It's just I was too young really to ask him all these annoying questions. But part of the video is mostly, essentially, well, I'm sure you can Google it. I'm sure I think the BBC are going to be playing a recording at 3 o'clock, so in just under an hour from when I'm recording this. Whatever you think of the man, he had led this country through over 5 years of war, having become Prime Minister 80 years ago this Sunday. Yeah, warmonger is a word that's slapped about. He was a warmonger in the sense that he had to wage war. Did he live for war? I don't think Winston Churchill was entirely as bloodthirsty as people made out. He had his moments, good and bad. And people crowded in, and when he said to them, "This is your victory," they shouted back before he could even get a word out, "No, this is yours." And a man prone to emotion, there surely was a tear trickling down his cheek. So if I may, before I go on with the other thing I found today, I might do my Churchill voice, but apparently when I try and do impressions on these YouTube videos, it does not go down terribly well. And I feel really out of it as it is. So, if I may, my dear friends, this is your hour. This is not a victory of a party or of any class. It is a victory of the great British nation as a whole. We were the first in this ancient island to draw the sword against tyranny. After a while, we were left all alone against the most tremendous military power that has been seen. We were all alone for a whole year. There we stood, alone. Did anyone want to give in? Were we downhearted? The lights went out and the bombs came down. But every man, woman and child in the country had no thought of quitting the struggle. London can take it. So we came back after long months from the jaws of death out to the mouth of hell, while all the world wondered. When shall the reputation and faith of this generation of English men and women fail? I say that, in the long years to come, not only will the people of this island, but of the world, wherever the bird of freedom chirps in human hearts, look back to what we've done, and they will say, do not despair, do not yield to violence and tyranny, march straight forward and die if need be, unconquered. Now we have emerged from one deadly struggle. A terrible foe has been cast on the ground and awaits our judgment and our mercy. After his speech, Churchill eventually wound up at Buckingham Palace, and the crowd saw the royal family. The royal family, including, of course, Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret, kept coming out onto the balcony, and they effectively, we want Winston, we want Winston. Churchill was stood behind the curtains, so from what I've read in one source anyway, he didn't really want to come out onto the balcony. This was the King's moment. And the King too had led his people through these years of war. He didn't leave London when he could have done. And so Churchill came out and everyone cheered. And VE Day in 45 must have been one of the first occasions where the Mall would be flooded with people. It's become fairly regular since then. Mostly all weddings, but it's become regular. Before we leave you children, I've been getting my mum to get the Daily Mail because I can't keep going over to the shop as it is every day, but nor can I buy the Daily Mail. I've got the Guardian today for VE Day, and I was awfully disappointed there's not really anything in the VE Day, not anything in the Guardian, and it's so interesting reading the Guardian, reading the Mail, then the Guardian, and then the Times, because you veer across spectrums, and yeah, so the letters in the Daily Mail tickled me. I don't know, I mean the thing is they've sort of modernised, they've given the replica, some of the reproductions, modern things. I'm pretty sure they didn't do the pluses in the captions back in 45. Bits of it are like it, and to me the letters page here looks like how they've done it for a few years now, as opposed to how the paper would have looked in 45, for instance. And the Times, I haven't got any replica Times, but it took until 1966 for the front page to actually feature news. Even VE Day didn't have any news or VE Day on the front of it. The whole page would be full of columns and articles and requests and adverts and complaints. So yeah, and the inside is definitely a more modern version of the Mail. I'm pretty sure they didn't have a colour photo of Hitler, the Goebbels family with Hitler, because I'm pretty sure colour was quite rare. But anyway, they had put a picture of Mussolini with his mistress. Yeah, that's as good as you're going to get, because I'm probably going to get a YouTube warning. Mussolini's body, and Mussolini's death was one reason why Hitler killed himself, because he didn't want his body to be strung up. It's interesting because, you know, the Daily Mail is known as the hate mail, and I laugh because nowadays violence and blood and guts is everywhere, isn't it? Look at what happened when Gaddafi was killed. So you got the best of both worlds here. So let's have a look. You got Sir, I saw with horror the photographs published on May the 1st in the Daily Mail concerning the execution of Mussolini. Those responsible for such a foul, wicked deed should be brought to justice. But it seems to me you published the pictures for the sole purpose of advertising your paper. And a chap from Birmingham. And then the next one on. Thank you for publishing the graphic photos of Mussolini. Perhaps we shall learn some lessons if they are exhibited in the future. So that's from a chap in Norton. And then next one, you go, on what pretext do you print such hideous photographs of Mussolini? I know I am not alone in the art of deploring unnecessary emphasis on horror and tacit connivance at bloodlust and revenge. Signed R. Kennedy. The next one is it literally just says, I am disgusted by your gloating attitude. And then they've responded, the Daily Mail. We printed the pictures, neither to gloat nor advertise, but for the record, and to bring home awareness of the savagery of the passions unloosed in Europe, in whose future Britain is deeply concerned. But then you got typical Daily Mail, I think. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I think they should have put the pictures in, and they should put the pictures in now. Mussolini was not a good man. He was a dictator. His mistress is an idiot for staying with him to the end. Put the pictures in. The dictator's fallen. If they had found Hitler's body, they might have done the same. There's that picture of a chap who apparently was Hitler, but he wasn't, because the bodies were burned, and this chap is fully intact. Or because he's got a toothbrush moustache. I mean, I've got a big nose. It doesn't mean I can smell things from 10 miles away. So, you got a letter here from... I just saw what it says, I haven't read it. It's signed from 4 misled schoolgirls. I'm sorry. It sounds like St. Trinity, a serious version of St. Trinity. Sir, the oath of enthusiasm for the Daily Mail is a disturbing influence on those of us sitting for our preliminaries of school certificate. Your headlines made us expect fee day any moment, and we could do no work with the thought of 2 days holiday ahead. We are now in the middle of examinations with no revision time. Oh God, could you imagine kids doing that today? Sir, the Daily Mail has given me a false hope of expectation when COVID-19 is gone. I've done nothing for a week. I mean, I've seen it. You want to know how far this country and the world has fallen. I don't know how it got onto my YouTube recommendations. Some idiot on Fortnite, is it? Crying that he's been banned off it for doing things he shouldn't have done, and apparently he's been getting £10,000, possibly, or 10,000 subscribers. He just said 10k, and no, yeah, it was 10,000 because somebody said it. And it's like, what the hell am I watching? Why, men cried for going off to war, and this happens now, and then he's doing a reaction video to rich girls on TikTok? Fuck's sake. Anyway, the sight of these 4 girls, crestfallen. The Daily Mail, though, responds to the 4 misled girls. The Daily Mail expected news of fee day any minute. Still does. Hang on. It doesn't make sense, that sentence. So let's have another go. The Daily Mail expected news of fee day any minute. Still does, and makes no apology to remiss examinees. It gets better. I don't know why I'm laughing. I should send this to private eye. I could get £10 for this. Sir, stick to your principles. No bias. Put black arrows on your war map where French army is advancing, driving the bush from France. Let the English know France is still in the picture. Signed E.C. Watson, Richmond, and the Times. Sorry, the Mail. Small map papers mean small maps. Small maps, fewer hours, and fewer hours make complete coverage of all military progress impossible. It is never our policy to belittle the French contribution, as 48,000 readers of our continental edition in Paris know well. Vive l'Entente. I shouldn't laugh, honestly. But I mean, you see, it's probably this one that says when will victory bells rung out, that gave the flipping schoolgirls a seething heart attack, and then yeah, we'll leave Tony Robbins in out because the man's but where is it? There you go, feed, we've done that. So yeah. Have they got any other letters pages? If anyone has Ian Hislop's phone number, could you let me know? I don't know. I got woken up by a jet, and I thought, the last time I heard a jet fly low over Aylesbury was September the 11th, and I thought, Christ, the balloon's gone up. And then I woke up and went off and got papers and stuff, and turns out it's the fly past, the red arrows. So, if anyone's still watching this, I'm still intending on doing stuff for the 80th anniversary of Ferris things. I don't think I'm going to be doing many historical videos otherwise. I don't know what else to do about videos for London. I'm sure somebody might want them, but unless I do the whole route in sections. But yeah, I'm hoping that somebody at least finds these interesting. My college tutor said that one day I could be. She saw me one day on TV with elbow patches doing history documentaries. Yeah, teacher when I was in year 5 said I was going to be Prime Minister one day. I could be Prime Minister one day. Can you imagine all this shit that would come out? So, that's it. VE Day and the Daily Mail.